Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 21 best video games of each year.
Watch the side! You missed! It'll map their tunnel so that we can hit those sons of bitches where they live!
For this list, we're looking at the most outstanding title to release every year from 2000 to 2020. Let us know in the comments what your favorite game of the 21st century is. 2000, Diablo II. The action RPG that defined the genre, Diablo II is one of many exceptional offerings from Blizzard over the years. The story is outstanding and the visuals more than hold up today, but the best part of the game is by far the gameplay. You'll quickly get addicted to the randomly generated loot system, desperately searching for superior gear to progress through the story. Online, there's even more fun to be had if you team up with friends and build a specific party. And decades later, there's still a healthy community leveling up characters and playing together. Few, if any, RPGs that came after Diablo II have been able to match it. 2001, Halo Combat Evolved.
Fire in the hole!
First-person shooters had already dominated the 90s with giant franchises like Doom and Wolfenstein. But in 2001, Bungie made a name for themselves by launching one of the most iconic shooters of all time. Halo was a launch title for the brand new Xbox after Microsoft bought the studio, and it was certainly a system seller. The game pioneered what competitive shooters should be in the 21st century, and years later, many AAA titles are still living in Halo's shadow, aiming for its lofty heights. It remains one of the best launch titles for any new console, and subsequent releases are still major fixtures in the esports scene. 2002, Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah, whatever. Well, I got the chalkboard you asked for.
That's the benefit of a law school education, the ability to follow instructions.
After the roaring success of GTA 3, people already had high expectations for the second 3D Grand Theft Auto, and Rockstar didn't disappoint. In 2002, we traveled to Vice City in the 1980s, a fictionalized version of Miami for a Scarface-inspired story about narcotics and the mafia. Vice City set the standard for sprawling open worlds, beautiful graphics, and biting satire as we follow the life and times of Tommy Vercetti.
Whoa, watch where you're waving that thing.
No more pigeon shit on my car, eh, Tommy?
Guess not.
You're damn right.
Ever since, people have been baying for Rockstar to return to Vice City as a setting, just like we've had grand returns for Liberty City and San Andreas, thanks to how beloved this defining game is. While we did get Vice City stories, it's about time the setting got the HD treatment.
Vice City is mine now, not his!
Talk about technology enslaving us. You know that play in the future there will be robots?
2003, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. The year was 2003. The prequel trilogy was still unfolding, LucasArts was still making video games, and BioWare was looking for a new IP. The result was Knights of the Old Republic, a Star Wars RPG that let players decide whether they wanted to pledge themselves to the light or succumb to the dark.
As you wish, Master. It will not be the first time I have been punished by Davik.
Though it has stiff competition, plenty of people consider KOTOR the greatest Star Wars game of all time. This is because it understands the source material and has a lot of respect for it, while blending in the tried-and-true RPG mechanics BioWare is known for. There's no limit to how many times you can defeat Darth Malak and still enjoy yourself.
Once again, we shall face each other in single combats, and the victor will decide the fate of the galaxy.
2004, World of Warcraft. Few games have had a cultural impact felt as far and wide as the one World of Warcraft created upon release. The MMO all other MMOs strive to be, WoW is going strong to this day, with Blizzard still releasing updates and enormous expansion packs to keep the story going. It permeated pop culture at the time of its release, with WoW addiction even getting lampooned by South Park in one of the show's best episodes. And if you want to know exactly how it felt to boot up the game for the first time in 2004, Blizzard released World of Warcraft Classic in 2019. 2005, Resident Evil 4. By 2005, the Resident Evil series was already beginning to stagnate thanks to a huge number of releases over the previous 9 years. To keep it fresh, Capcom needed to do something bold, and that thing was transforming the tank controls and fixed camera angles into an over-the-shoulder shooter. It turned out to be the best decision they ever made, and Resident Evil 4 was born. Following Leon Kennedy as he fights against a zombie outbreak in rural Spain, it may be more action-packed than its predecessors, but it kept the scares coming. It's since been ported to a dozen platforms, and rumor has it a big-budget remake is in the works. 2006, Gears of War. Halo may have defined the first-person shooter on Xbox, but Gears of War defined third-person action games. One of the best games to come to the 360, the first Gears title introduced us to the conflict between the humans and the Locust, as well as that famous gameplay that has given the series its impressive longevity. With the best graphics of the day, it's said that the reason the 360 got a boost in RAM was to push Gears of War to its full potential. A gamble that certainly paid off. To this day, it's one of the most played games on Xbox Live, and Gears continues to be a flagship franchise for Microsoft. 2007, BioShock.
It doesn't just heal damaged cells, it resurrects them. I can bend the double helix.
It's impossible to understate the impact of BioShock. Nobody knew what they were in for when they first descended to the underwater city of Rapture, which was as nightmarish as it was beautiful. Players explored not only Rapture's submerged streets, but also the corrupt ideologies of its leaders, from the deranged surgeon Steinman to the city's megalomaniac founder, Andrew Ryan.
Where the great would not be constrained by the small, and with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
To survive, you needed to upgrade your weapons and your own body, injecting yourself with plasmids to get an edge on the marauding splicers. And if all that wasn't good enough, BioShock executed one of the most famous plot twists in gaming, and has since become a prime example of why video games are art.
So dark. If only your friend could look up and see. Maybe.
2008, Grand Theft Auto 4.
It's easy. Out the door, turn left, and the first left of the diner, go down one block and turn right on Iroquois. Then walk all the way down, and we're right there on the left on the corner of Cisco Street. It's really flash. We got lots of titties and some incredible molders. Nico, give me a hug. Good to have you here, cousin.
The fourth numbered GTA has a slightly darker tone to its wackier siblings, as we returned to Liberty City, this time in the shoes of Nico Bellic, an immigrant on his way to the US to start a new life and get revenge on some faces from his past. The satire GTA is known for was even less forgiving, and for once in the series, crime doesn't pay.
First I hear you running with the wrong kind. Then I hear you join the Merchant Navy. Now you're here. You never tell me anything.
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, I never tell you anything.
Though it proved a little divisive among Rockstar fans for its difference in tone, the game is definitely stronger for tackling the myth of the American dream so seriously. And of course, Liberty City is as fun as it is grimy.
I didn't know that Mr. Bulgaren was here in Liberty City. If I could have killed them all then and there...
Just chill, Nico, man. One at a time.
2009, Minecraft. Since its initial release, Minecraft has taken over the world, a fixture in the lineups of gaming streamers and YouTubers alike. Minecraft is a game that anybody can play and fall in love with, from kids just getting into video games to the most hardcore players who want something with endless potential and deep gameplay systems. It is primarily about freedom, and it gives players far more agency than plenty of other titles. Whether you're playing alone or with friends, with a specific goal in mind or just to kill some time, it's impossible to go wrong jumping into Minecraft whenever you get the urge. 2010, Mass Effect 2.
Quarians can choose where they go on pilgrimage. Vitor liked the idea of helping a small settlement. He was always nervous in crowds.
She means that he was unstable.
The Mass Effect trilogy is widely considered to be one of the best stories in gaming, provided you ignore that ending. And the creme de la creme of BioWare's sci-fi RPGs is Mass Effect 2. Recently resurrected by the Elusive Man and his sinister company Cerberus, Shepard is tasked with taking down Harbinger, a particularly nasty Reaper. With faster, tighter combat and opportunities for split-second narrative choices, Mass Effect 2 took everything the first game did well and rolled with it. Now, BioWare knew what they wanted Mass Effect to be, and they delivered an outstanding game.
This is what you face.
2011, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. If you haven't yet played Skyrim, it's presumably because you haven't owned a game console for over a decade and you don't have a computer, because it's available on pretty much everything. Full of long, arcing quest lines, a wide variety of factions to ally with or vilify, and plenty of different play styles to try, it's easy to see why Skyrim has been a must-play from its release through to the present. And if you're tired of the base game after all this time, it's got one of the largest modding communities out there, so go wild.
With the threat gone, Pelagius is under the delusion that he's safe, which means you've helped him out, sort of. And we're that much closer to home.
2012, Borderlands II. Where off-the-wall, chaotic looter shooters are concerned, Borderlands 2 wrote the book and remains a cornerstone of the genre. Upon release, it took everything the first game did and made it 10 times better, with superior gameplay, a deeper class system, a better story, and more of those iconic cel-shaded graphics.
Oh, and if you find any porno mags, I'm just saying if you come across them in a natural accents, just snag those for me too, okay?
The game's got so much variety, you could play it 10 times through and never feel bored, which plenty of people surely have since 2012. But just as memorable as the gunplay is the humor. Borderlands 2 has pop culture references in droves, and you can't help but feel satisfied every time you get one.
Perfect double rainbow all the way.
2013, The Last of Us.
You want to explain this?
I was on my way back here, and I got jumped by these two assholes, all right? And yeah, they got a few good hits in, but... Look, I managed.
Give me that.
Naughty Dog has always been on the cutting edge, and that was never truer than when they released The Last of Us, back at the close of the PS3 era. Pushing the console's capabilities to a breaking point, it was easily the most beautiful game in that generation, and it had a story to match.
Attention. Citizens are required to carry a at all times. Compliance with all city personnel is mandatory.
Look at that. Ration line hasn't opened yet.
Players controlled Joel, a survivor hardened by 20 years in a zombie apocalypse, as he needs to escort teenager Ellie across the U.S. Players bond with Ellie in real time just like Joel, and by the game's incredible finale, you'll be left wondering who the true villain is after you wipe the tears from your eyes.
Please, please, please don't. Please.
2014, Dragon Age Inquisition.
We must strip its defenses, wear it down.
BioWare struck gold once again when Inquisition released, the sequel to Dragon Age Origins we deserved. Inquisition stuck close to the plot and themes of the previous two games, miraculously remaining welcoming to players who were new to the series this time around, while not disrespecting the most hardcore fans. With a large map spanning both Ferelden and Orlais, there were gorgeous biomes wherever you looked, from the unforgiving western approach to the green and lush emerald graves. Its rich world was unmatched, and all your actions felt like they were important in determining Theda's fate and saving the world.
It is not unlike the second dispersal of the reclaimed Dales. Nothing? Divinity puts you above such things, I suppose.
2015, Bloodborne. It was time for From Software to do something different, so in 2015, they forwent another high fantasy release and went for a totally different aesthetic, Victorian Gothic, with a twist halfway through that revealed the true inspiration as H.P. Lovecraft. But where Bloodborne succeeded most was in its bold choice to remove a key element from every FromSoft game up until then, the shield. Now you had to get up close and personal with your enemies or meet your end. You've got to strike fast, dodge, parry, and keep going even when you get hurt to rally lost health. But what's waiting behind mastering those mechanics is one of the best video games ever made. 2016, Overwatch. Blizzard once again showed why they're one of the best developers in the industry when they released the widely popular hero shooter Overwatch in 2016. Since its launch, Overwatch has grown to have an enormous roster of colorful and diverse characters, all with unique playstyles and gimmicks, assuring us that there really is something for everyone. It exploded onto the esports scene immediately, and thanks to Blizzard's focus on eliminating toxicity, it's definitely one of the more welcoming competitive shooters you can jump into. Overwatch 2 may be on the horizon, but the original is surely going to be around for a long time regardless. 2017, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. At launch, it wasn't clear what type of console the Nintendo Switch would be. Would it be a return to form or another misstep? One of the first games released proved that the Switch was here to stay. In the few short years since it came out, Breath of the Wild has changed the way people play and make games. With stunning visuals and a minimalist story, Breath of the Wild provides players with ultimate freedom of when to do something and how to do something. And if you so desire, you can even go fight the final boss right away. It was this razor-sharp focus on exploration that gave Breath of the Wild its edge, setting a new industry standard. (2018) God of War.
What was that? Father, you're almost dead!
There were a lot of heavy hitters in 2018, but God of War was an incredible and refreshing reboot of a franchise that seemed to have disappeared. Kratos returned with a vengeance, now transplanted from ancient Greece to Midgard, fighting gods and monsters from the lesser-represented Norse pantheon.
When Odin sent me here, I just needed answers, but you had to act all proud.
Though you'll certainly never forget the moment you come face to face with Jormungandr the World Serpent, where God of War really excels is the growing father-son relationship between Kratos and Atreus, who learn to trust each other and work together throughout the story. And it's got arguably the best graphics seen on the PlayStation 4.
No. Why would you? You do not know my ways.
2019, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
あれが今日からお前の主だ。命を賭して守る。たとえ奪われるとも必ず取り戻すのだ。
From Software's most recent offering yet again switched up the game, just as soon as you thought you had them pinned down. Sekiro had a slightly more prominent story than other Souls titles, but even more challenging gameplay. You now had to constantly attack to weaken your enemy's posture, and only then could you start to damage them. Set deep in the heart of feudal Japan, Sekiro has the best graphics of a FromSoft game to date, and a more varied array of bosses than even Dark Souls. In Sekiro, it's just you, your sword, and your prosthetic arm, and mastering them to beat the game is a thrill like no other.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
2020, Cyberpunk 2077.
You've never backed down from anything in your life, even when you maybe should have.
It's taken over 8 years and a numerous amount of delays, but 2020 was finally the year we got our hands on CD Projekt Red's most hotly anticipated game. Despite a good number of glitches contained in the launch version, Cyberpunk 2077 has no doubt wowed us with its excellent gameplay and story, all of which take place in the incredibly immersive Night City. Seriously, the amount of detail that has gone into this game is absolutely staggering, and the huge variety of things to do means you won't be putting this game down for a long time. Plus, Keanu Reeves, starring as Johnny Silverhand, is that nice little cherry on top that we didn't even know we needed.
Maybe we'll fit together after all.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.